Prime Minister, I'd like to start with an interview that Jane Philpott gave to Maclean's magazine, in which he says you're trying to shut down the SNC-Lavalin story, which has clearly done damage to your party. Will you keep Ms. Philpott and Ms. Wilson-Raybould in your caucus, yes or no?
First of all, on the issue of SNC-Lavalin and the question before both the Justice Committee, the Ethics Commission, the questions that people are asking, the issue is a question of pressure that could have been put on the Attorney General while she was Attorney General. We granted an unprecedented waiver to allow for fulsome testimony at the Justice Committee so that people could be heard on this matter as fully as possible, and that's exactly why we are pleased with the work done by the Justice Committee and that will be done by the Ethics Committee. As for the two members, they have indicated they want to continue to serve as Liberal members. They want to continue to run in the next election as Liberal members of Parliament, and that they share the goals we have and the focus we have on investing in the middle class, supporting Canadians right across the country, and moving forward on big things like this budget that puts more money directly in municipalities for things like public transit, helps first-time home buyers get that first home, invests in our seniors, invests in students and training, and does the kinds of things that make a real difference in the lives of Canadians. We will continue to do just that altogether.
And Prime Minister, just as a follow-up, in that same interview, Jane Philpott says you need to waive privilege on the whole issue so people can speak freely. In your opinion, and based on the legal advice that you have received, is Jody Wilson-Raybould free to speak on the whole issue now, or is there something additional you think you need to do in terms of extending privilege so she feels comfortable or assured to speak freely?
The issue of privilege is not one to take lightly in any government. Cabinet confidentiality and solicitor-client privilege is a significant bedrock of our legal system, of our system of government. So the decision to waive those confidentialities regarding this issue was not taken lightly, but I think it was important. It was extremely important that the former Attorney General be allowed to share completely her perspectives, her experiences on this issue, and that is what she was able to do. The issue at question is the issue of pressure around the Lavalin issue while she was Attorney General, and she got to speak fully to that.
How can you have two MPs in your caucus who continue to damage your party?
One of the things that has always been a strength of the Liberal Party of Canada, and certainly has been a contrast from the way that Stephen Harper and the Conservatives managed their government, managed their caucus, managed their approach to democracy, is we recognize that a diversity of perspectives, of experiences, of opinions is extraordinarily important if we're going to fully reflect the extraordinary diversity of Canadians. That's why we loosened the rules around whipped votes, why we encourage committees to continue to do their work independently, and why we recognize that within a same party we can have absolutely differences of opinion. But on the big things, the matters of investing in the middle class, moving forward on reconciliation, protecting our environment and growing our economy at the same time, everyone in the Liberal Party believes in that, understands that that's a priority, and understands that having Andrew Scheer determine the direction for this country would pull us backwards in a whole bunch of different ways. And that's why we are pleased to have a diversity of voices within the Liberal Party.
Jane Philpott says there are details about a meeting you had with her January 6th or 7th prior to the cabinet shuffle. What is it that Canadians are not being told?
We heard testimony around that meeting, and I can be very frank with you. We had a discussion about her taking on the President of the Treasury Board and Minister of Digital Services role, and I also told her about the fact that I wish to move Jody Wilson-Raybould into the position of Indigenous Services. She asked me directly if this was in link to the SNC-Lavalin decision, and I told her, no, it was not. I then she then mentioned it might be a challenge for Jody Wilson-Raybould to take on the role of Indigenous Services, and I asked her for her help, which she gladly offered to give, in explaining to Jody Wilson-Raybould how exciting this job was and what a great thing it would be for her to have that role for reconciliation, for the government, and that it would be a very positive thing. It was a good and positive conversation.